So today you're going to do more factoring and a little just more practice with that. I'm going to add just a couple of things for you to be on the lookout for to add to your factoring toolbox, if you will. The first thing is that you always want to make sure that your terms are in descending order. So by terms, I mean exponents, okay? And if you look at this first example here, our x squared term is at the end, right? So we have like the x squared and we have x to the first. And even though it's not there, this is kind of x to the 0 because that equals 1. So you always want to make sure that before you start factoring, you rewrite your, I'm actually going to make this a plus, you rewrite your exponents in descending order like this before you start factoring. Okay, so you're gonna have a few problems on your homework where you have to do that and then you have to factor. Okay, I didn't actually leave room for that here, but if you want a quick review of that, remember this is the term that we are looking for the factors of that add up to this number here. Okay, so -3. The only factors that it could be are either -3 and 1 or -1 and 3, right? And we see that this is the one that if you add them up, you equal -2, which is the number that we're looking for. So our factors will be x minus 3 times x plus 1. Okay, so here's another example where we need to rearrange it. We need to, boy, I keep doing that. We need to put the a squared term first, is always the squared term, and then the 3a term, and then the -28 last. Okay, so be on the lookout. There's going to be 3 of the problems that you have to do that tonight. And if you want, I will go ahead and we're going to look for the factors of this that add up to 3. You know, it's not going to be 2 and 14 or 28 and 1. It's either going to be -7 and 4 or -4 and 7. And since you want your middle, you want them to add up to +3, you know it has to be this one because the 7 is positive, and that'll give you the positive. So that's going to end up being x minus 4 and x plus 7 as your factors. Okay? So that's the first thing to be on the lookout for. The second thing is, I told you that we were going to be looking at just ones that are of this format, okay, with nothing in front of the x. Now here you see we have something in front of the x, but you also see that we can factor out, like we did a couple of days ago, we can suck out basically a 6 from each of these terms here. And when we do that, we suck out this 6, and then we're dividing each term by 6. We're left with x squared minus 4x plus 3. Now I can factor this, okay? So you're just putting the two things together here. You're going to first suck out the monomial, and then you're going to factor like you did yesterday. Okay, what you need to remember is that this 6 still has to come down. Okay, we have to carry that 6 with us. It's still part of the problem. It didn't just go away. We just sucked it out and put it outside of the parentheses. Okay, so carry that down, and then you can continue looking for the factors of 3 that add up to -4. And in this case, our only choices are 3 and 1 or -3 and -1. And when you add this up, you get +4. And when you add this up, you get -4, which is what we are looking for. So not that one. So then we can put out our parentheses here, like we've been doing, and we're going to use these factors, x minus 3 and x minus 1. This whole thing is our answer. If you drop the 6, it's wrong. Okay, you have to include all of that in your answer. So let's look at one more. As you can see, we have something here. Well, can I suck that out of all of these other terms? Absolutely. Absolutely. I can suck out that 7, and I'm going to be left with x squared minus 3x minus 10. Now I have to look at that negative 10 and break it down to figure out how to get negative 3 when I add them up. So you know it's not going to be 10 and 1, but it's going to be 2 and 5, either negative 2, positive 5, or negative 5, positive 2. And when I add those up, I get 3 here and negative 3 here, and that's what I want. I don't want this. Okay, so most important, bring down that 7, and then my factors here will be x minus 5 and x plus 2, and I have my final answer.